What's up, guys? Bruno Aponte here, back with another tutorial. Super excited to be here with you guys. I'm sorry for such a long wait. I know it's been like 3 or 4 weeks at this point, but unfortunately, being caught up with client work, I wasn't able to get around to making these videos, but hopefully I could get back onto a regularly scheduled program. Today we're going to be going over Nav's Emergency Tsunami cover. It's a recreation, so I hope you guys like it. Let's get right into it. So now we're in Photoshop. We're going to be recreating Nav's Emergency Tsunami cover. Nav is one of my favorite artists, so I'm naturally just drawn to whatever he drops that's new. Alright, so step one is just placing all your source images into the new canvas. I like to mock everything up before I start masking, so that's what I'm doing now. With the house and sky images in place, I began working on the big wave. I took the base image and scaled it, flipped it horizontally, then masked out the sky. And so the bottom of the wave shouldn't exactly have this angle, so I decided to mask it out a bit. With this rough idea in place, I began to add more of a turbulent looking water at the base of the wave. This was just a process of scale, mask, distort, and repeat, as you'll notice it will be for the most part of the creation of this wave. I suggest the use of a soft brush to erase the large portions of water that aren't needed, along with a grunge brush to make the edges a bit more turbulent and irregular. Make sure to use a healthy mixture of erasing and painting back with the grunge brush. It may seem a bit tedious or difficult, but it'll lend for a better result. So as you can see, I've got a large part of the base already looking really good, so it's time to duplicate and repeat the prior steps as needed. I'll be speeding past some of this repetition just to save some time. Slow it down in the playback settings if you need it. At some point the sky was bothering me, so I decided to add a hue and saturation adjustment to the layer. I achieved the darker stormy look by simply shifting the hues closer to purple and desaturating it, and then dragging the lightness to the darker tones. Also, don't forget to bring back the whites in the clouds by using the blend diff tool. Great, so let's speed past this again. With the majority portion of the wave complete, we can now focus on achieving the curve. I found an image like this one, with a bunch of suds and water flowing horizontally, and I figured if I rotate the image and make the water vertical and add a curve distortion, I can obtain the look that we're aiming for. So that's exactly what I did. You might see some slight portions of the water that look a bit smudged or blurry. I fixed this by painting a randomized sand and dust brush on all of these areas. This also helps sell a misty, more violent moving water. Great, so we're fast approaching the end of this design, and everything is seeming to look good so far, which leaves us with just having to place the helicopter into the canvas, masking it out and adjusting its size and placement. There are a few nuanced things that I had to adjust in order to more closely resemble the original artwork, such as removing one of the blades from the tail of the wing, and also changing the blades to those of one with less motion blur. For that, I had to find a separate image that more closely resembled what I wanted. You'll also notice that I put the bottom of the helicopter into more of a shadow. I achieved this by simply using an exposure adjustment layer and painting it in. Alright, so next up, the text of the artist and the producer, Nav and Wheezy. I started with Wheezy Outta Here using the Impact bold font on italic. You'll need to fisheye and arch warp the text to better fit the surface with both fonts to a slight degree. After the text, I did a couple of striped accents to the tail before moving on to color style. I added a sepia to cyan gradient map on soft light at 50% opacity, and with color balance I added a little bit more green hue to the water. At some point you would have noticed that I also shifted the yellows in the helicopter with a hue and saturation adjustment. I just added a bit more orange into the hue. I made some last minute quick adjustments to the scale and position of the helicopter before moving on to doing a camera raw filter. I bumped virus to 15, clarity to 10, grain to 45, size at 25, roughness at 50, 100% color noise reduction, sharpening at 30, radius at 1.5, scale at 45, masking at 100. Typically, I'd be finished with the artwork at this point. However, realizing many of you would possibly want to add the hazard sign, I figured I'd go back and add it myself. Simply find the source image, add it to your canvas, click on its thumbnail to make a selection, create a solid color layer using this selection, and then using your eyedropper, you can match the color. Then repeat the process, only this time make the fill 0 and also add a black stroke in the blending options at 2 to 3 size. Following that, I added the big wave icon before adding the Helvecta bold text. I played with the height, width, and kerning a bit as I needed before adding a little stroke in the blending options. And finally, I added the little banner with the year. It's just a black solid square or rectangle with the font inside of it, 2020. And that was pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was pretty simple, a bit tedious to do, but overall I enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun making it. Alright guys, so that's it for me today. Drop a comment down below, like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell. Hopefully, like I said, we can get back onto a regularly scheduled program, and you guys don't want to miss that. So I hope you guys learned something today. It was a lot of fun to do. And yeah, it's a little bit tedious, but I hope you guys learned something, which is most important. So I'm going to catch you guys next time. Peace.